Hello everyone, welcome to another Narc Survivor live video. Back at this spot again. I haven't been here for about 1 year now. By the lake with a view of the city in the background. And in this one we're going to be diving deep into how the narcissist will struggle when you walk away. Because many of you struggle with the injustice. You wonder, how is it possible that someone can come into your life, treat you that way, manipulate you, devalue you, disrespect you, betray you, and then they just walk away scot-free. They walk away clean, as though there was never anything wrong with them and as though they never did anything wrong. Many of you wonder, how on earth is that possible? And yeah, in this video, it's really just to explain to you how they don't get away with it. God, the universe, is always working for you. Not for the narcissist, not for evil, not for actions, behaviors that are bad, but rather what is good. And you were good to them. You gave yourself to them, you shared with them your love, your energy. And that's only going to come back to haunt them in the end. Because yes, they are going to struggle when you walk away. And this is how it always ends. When you walk away, they struggle. But you find peace. Because the only reason why you no longer felt good about yourself, you didn't know who you were anymore, you had all of these bad feelings, it was only because they came around. Before that, you were fine, and you're going to be fine after they're gone. It's just they bring this negative energy, this trauma into your life. They project it onto you. They make you think that it has something to do with you. It really doesn't. And I can tell you this, it's got nothing to do with you so much being traumatized or unhealed. Yes, that could be a part of it. But also what's not talked about a lot is that when you do heal, you're going to become more sensitive to it, not less. You're going to become more sensitive. Maybe not so much to the manipulation. You're going to see through that. You're going to be aware of it. But the abuse is really just going to make you sick. And, it kind of reminds me of the story that I've told before. Cut the story short, we went to some council homes working in Britain on the van to install some appliances. And some of the homes, they smelled really bad. And I said to my co-worker, how can they not smell how bad it is? And he said, it's because they're used to it. And of course, that makes perfect sense. It's because they're always around it. So if you're out of it, if you're healed, you're going to pick up on it immediately. And it's really going to affect you. So don't let that weigh you down. Don't let that make you think that there's something wrong with you. That's a good thing. That's something you should pay attention to. The problem is when you're around it and you don't sense that something is wrong. That's what suggests that you are unhealed. And of course, that's what happened to so many of us. That's why we were stuck in it for so long, is because it became normal to us. So when you begin to notice that something is wrong, when you start thinking, oh, hold on, something doesn't feel right, something feels off. I feel like I'm being robbed, I'm being betrayed. Once you pick up on that, that's the beginning of your healing. So you want to continue down that path. Yes, it may be painful at first, but these are good signs. And of course, realizing that something is off, that's what then leads you to these videos. And that's when things gradually start to get a lot better for you. So don't let that discourage you. Continue forwards and just be glad, be grateful that you are noticing these signs, that you recognize that something feels off. You can detect the horrible smell. Like when I was working, installing appliances. That's a good sign that my home is clean. and smelled good, that I could pick up on the horrible smell in other people's homes. Keep in mind, you know, these were council homes. So, yeah, you know, of course, that's a good thing. If you can pick up on horrible smells, if you can sense when something is off, that's good. That means you're relatively healthy yourself. People who don't detect these things, it's because they are very unhealthy. They're very toxic. That has just become normal to them. And even psychologist Ross Rosenberg has spoken about this. He's mentioned how self-love is your greatest defense against narcissists. So definitely focus on loving yourself. Or even find someone who you can channel that through. Someone who helps you to love yourself. Someone who can see the best in you. But of course, at the beginning, that can be quite painful to go through. To override all of that programming. But like I said, you know, push through it, continue on that path. Anyway, we're going to get into it now. Oh yes, the narcissist will struggle when you walk away. But before I get into it, just show the view here. I came out, I took the train down here. Got the skyscrapers, the Patronus Towers, and that's the KL Tower, and then the Murdica 118. So yeah, that's the view. You may remember I came down here and did a video almost 1 year ago. So yeah, it's good to be back down here. You know, I love being in nature. I love being around things that are natural. But yeah, I can tell you, the narcissist is going to struggle without you. They're going to struggle when you walk away. You may not think it because they really just invalidated and undermined you. They were very busy taking and consuming from you while making you believe all the while that what you were given didn't really matter or wasn't worth anything. That's what they make you believe. And then it leaves you thinking that they're fine, they're better off now, without your problems, without your inconveniences. When actually no. They targeted you because you were empathic. You are empathic. You may be a codependent, a people pleaser. So you were readily given, providing to them. And they were able to mold you into who they needed you to be, to where you could continuously supply them with attention, validation, admiration, maybe money and resources, maybe sex as well. All of these things, you took care of them. You made them feel good about themselves. So they began all of these things from you, and they became dependent on you. This is why when you weren't giving them freely what they wanted, they became very angry. They got mad at you. They may have become abusive. Because it's like an addiction for them. They were hooked on you. They couldn't get enough of it. And this is how, when you pull away, they then lose all of that. So everything that they were so excited about initially, and I'm sure you've all seen that. You've all seen the narcissistic elation. And it even turns into grandiosity. Suddenly they're perfect. There's nothing wrong with them at all. They're propped up on a pedestal after they've got you to worship them. You created that. Your power, your energy. They may have idealized you and they mirrored you, and you then idealized them. You made them feel perfect, grandiose, larger than life. But then gradually you began to see through them. You saw through the facade and you realized this person isn't everything they portray themselves to be. And in fact, they appear to be far more flawed, far more broken, far more imperfect than most people, is what you all then realize. Because of course, we can accept that we're all human. We can accept that people have flaws. People make mistakes. But with them, it's really on another level. It's really that bad. And it gets so bad that you can't even just hold on for the lies and future fake it anymore. And of course, when that happens, they then turn against you. They start devaluing you, putting you down. And even then, they're still getting something out of you. You're still supplying them by you being in agreement with them, being on that same wavelength, which is what they want. Because they have to create a fantasy about themselves, as though there's nothing wrong with them, as though they've never made a mistake, so that they can feel comfortable, because otherwise they're burdened by overwhelming shame. So that's why they need this fantasy for. And initially you went along with it. You freely just agreed with it. You thought, yeah, this person seems okay. This person seems good. So you just chimed in with it. And so gradually you began to realize that they're actually very toxic, very harmful to you. And then that's when they had to start seeing it as though there's something wrong with you, because they felt very intimidated by you. They felt inferior to you, because they began to realize that you are actually the real deal. You're actually everything that they were pretending to be. And that's why they tried to change your mind about yourself. They're trying to get you on the same wavelength as them, seeing you as the one who's broken, seeing you as the one who has all of these things wrong with them. You are the one who is bad, or who is crazy. When all the while they were still getting that supply from you, getting the benefits, the conveniences, these things that were making their lives easier and making them feel better, while making you believe that you weren't even doing anything good for them, because that's what serves them, if they can make you think that about yourself. Because of course, if you realize your worth, and this is why they never compliment you, they never give you anything really. Because when you're aware of yourself, when you have a strong sense of self, which is what they don't want you to have, you then begin to realize that you're actually far greater than them. This is why you can't be yourself around them. This is why when they manipulate you, they deceive you, you lose touch with yourself, with your passions, your likes, your interests, with who you are as a person. The two cannot coexist, because you're entering into fantasy. They're not even real. They don't even really exist. It's a figment of your imagination. And this is how whatever they promised you, you never get that. You never see anything of it, because it's not real. They're getting the realness, the authenticity, the positive energy from you. They are primarily negative. If someone is negative, it means it doesn't really exist. So they're looking to take from you to fill their bottomless void. You are being positive because you do exist. You are in a state of abundance to where you're able to provide to them. They don't really exist at all. That's how they can't bring anything of value to you. They could if they were real. So you just got to look back and remember everything you gave to them, everything you provided to them. Your energy and emotions, that's what they wanted. That's why they emotionally manipulated you. They wanted that emotional supply. They wanted to get you emotionally invested in them, because all they have is a void. They have no true energy, no true emotions. If they did, why would they need to feed off yours like an emotional parasite? Why would they need to do that? They wouldn't need to, because they would be at peace with themselves. They need that from you, because they don't generally have that from within. It may seem like they do. Narcissists are brilliant actors. They really are. They study people, actors in movies. They can mimic the facial expressions, everything. It can seem more real than what is actually real. It can. And that's how so many of you got manipulated. But once you start to realize that they're studying people, they're watching movies, it begins to seem more fake, forced, quite cringy, because it is fake. It is an act. It's designed only to... But luckily, I managed to resume the stream. But yeah, these people are really just emotional parasites, and it's because deep down they're not happy. They can tell you they're happy, they can pretend to be happy. They could be the best actors in the world. They can tell you whatever you want to hear. They can show you whatever they think you want to see. None of it is reality. The reality is, we all have trauma. We all have mental health issues. None of our lives are perfect. When something seems too good to be true, it is. I can promise you that it is. And, you know, that's how these narcissists, they come off as so charming, so charismatic in the beginning. And then gradually that just begins to fade away. You begin to realize that they're nothing like how they presented themselves to you. And in fact, they appear more flawed, more miserable, more depressed than anyone else you've ever known in your entire life. To the point where it just completely sucked the life out of you. It put you into a state of depression. And you were fine, you were happy before. Because that's just it. They act that way, they act so happy, they act like they're living their best lives. Because deep down they know that the truth is the exact opposite. And they're very insecure about that, so they know that they have to compensate for it. It's kind of like, you know, before they met you, they were miserable, they were really down. And then they saw you coming along. They could see that you were in a positive mood, you were feeling good about yourself. And it wasn't put on, it was genuine, it was authentic. And they didn't want you to see them like that. So then they put on this act. They acted joyful, cheerful, like they were the same as you. And many of us, we overlooked it, we didn't see it, that it was put on, it was fake. It was all an act. They were struggling before they met you. And that's how, if you don't fall for the manipulation, for the charm, for the seduction, then what do? They play the victim. They act like you've done something to them. And that's more genuine. Because really, deep down, they are, or at least they feel like they're victims. They feel like they've been wronged somehow. They're not feeling too good. And that's how when you get around them, you get drained. But yeah, what they wanted with you was control. They're very insecure. They wanted control over your emotions and actions. They wanted to extract this emotional supply from you because they could see you were generally feeling good about yourself. You were at peace with yourself. And they wanted that stability for themselves. And that's why they had to manipulate you, to control you, control your actions, and to get you to serve them, to align with them. But yeah, they lose all of that when you walk away. They lose that control over you. And of course, they want that control over you because you're positive, you're joyful, you're abundant. That's what they wanted from you. That's why they got around you. And yet, by the end of it, you're left scratching your head wondering, where did this person go? Because initially, they seemed like they were the same as you. They presented themselves as though they were. But then you're left feeling very confused, betrayed. As though something was taken from you. As though you've lost a part of yourself. And that happens because it was just an act. They're actually nothing like you. If they were similar to you, if they were what you wanted, you would have got on just fine. You wouldn't have experienced all of those problems. You wouldn't have felt depleted, confused by the end of it. You wouldn't have felt like you lost something. Let me tell you, this is why you experience a sense of loss at the end of it, a sense of regret. It's because you were emotionally invested in someone who could not reciprocate that same energy back to you. That's why. They were not on the same frequency as you. They were not vibrating at the same level. So that's how that happened. They tricked you. And this is why you see that narcissistic elation. You may even see the narcissistic smirk because they know they've tricked you. They're aware of that. They know they feel like they've gotten one over on you. Like they've gotten something out of you that they do not deserve. They know that they've conned you out of something that does not belong to them because they're nothing like you. They don't share the same feeling, the same emotions behind the words, behind what they're presenting to you. So they're aware of that. They know that they're conning you. And of course, that's where they hide it. Because they know that what they're doing is not right. They know that if they're not similar to you, if they don't feel what you feel, that they have no right, they have no business getting involved with you. They know that. They're aware of this, and this is why they hide the manipulation. This is why they deny it. Because they know that what they're doing is wrong. But yeah, you just got to look back and remember everything you gave, everything you provided to this person. You supplied them. And you were good enough for them to target, for them to want to keep around. To the point where they then molded you into who they needed you to be. You were good enough for that. So of course, that's what they're going to lose. They're going to lose that abundance that you have, your energy, your emotions, that you supply to them. Just everything that makes you you. And without that, they're going to go back to feeling depressed. They're going to go back to feeling not good about themselves. You made them feel good about themselves. That's what you did for them. You propped them up on a pedestal. Worshipped them. You made them feel like a god. You made them feel like there was nothing wrong with them because you validated this illusion. Or even when they turned against you and they were putting you down, you still made them feel powerful and superior to you. That's what you gave. That's what you provided. That's what they can't live without. And this is why many of them, when you do walk away or when they leave you, they go off and act like they're living their best lives. As though they never needed you anyway. Why do they do that? Other than, of course, to hurt, to punish you. They do it because it's the very thing that they're insecure about. They know fully well when they're going off in a different direction that they're losing something, that they're leaving something behind that was valuable, that was worth something to them. So this is why they go off acting like everything's fine, like everything's perfect now. Because deep down, that's still there. Feeling like they've lost something, like they've left something behind that they needed. And this is why, again, what do they do next? They go off with a new supply. I feel like this person is the one for them. Another thing that they were insecure about is that you were as good as it gets for them. And now they're off acting that way with someone else. You see how this all links together. Because deep down they do know. They know the difference between what is good and what is bad, what is comfortable and what is not. They were very comfortable around you. You made them feel comfortable. However, they were not comfortable enough to act the way that they do around other people who they may feel closer to. From you, they wanted positive supply. And even when they were putting you down, they wanted to feel powerful and superior to you. You were never the type of person that they would get around and fart around you. They would never do that with you. They would never reveal that vulnerable side of themselves to you, because they viewed you as something ideal. And this is how you know that they view you as something ideal, even when they're putting you down. Because yeah, they'll put you down, they'll hurt you. What they won't do is reveal something like that about themselves. They're not going to fart in front of you. They're not going to do something that may make you view them as unattractive, undesirable, even though it may be real, because they view you as perfect, as something that is good for them, as something that they do not want to spoil. They do not want to ruin that. And this is how you know. And this is why, when they're around you, it's like suddenly they're the man. They're the boss. They've got to be seen as something larger than life, and they won't accept anything less. Initially, they want you to view them as perfect, flawless. And even later on, when they're devaluing you, they still want you to view them as powerful, superior to you. And even when they leave you, they still want you to think that everything's perfect for them in their lives. They're so happy now with a new supply. Because it's the very thing they're insecure about. Even when they're going off, they're getting married, they're having children, and they still want to present this picture perfect image to you. It's because they always wanted you to view them in that light. They cared so much about what you think, because you were that one person they couldn't tame. Once they can tame you, once they've got you exactly where they want you, then they let themselves go. Then they show you what they're really like. Once they know they've got you wrapped around their finger. But they never had their way with you. They never had you fully under their control. Even when they did, they knew it was only a moment until it was going to slip away. And that's how you were always that person for them. And this is why you should never believe anything you see from them. They are struggling without you. They really are. They just don't want you to see that. They don't want you to know about it. Other people, yes, they will see it. They will know about it. They will know when the narcissist farts. You won't. You will never see that. You will never hear about it. Maybe anyone else, but not you. They're never going to let you see them like that. Because you are very important to them. You are their supply. They want you to view them as perfect, even when they're not with you. Because they're still getting supply and they're still entertaining whether or not they will come back to you. So you are the person. You hold a very powerful position in their lives as the audience. You hold everything together. You make everything feel perfect for them. From your belief, it gives it power. It validates this illusion. That's what you do for them. You enable them to continue living in their fantasy world. And that's more powerful than any position that anyone else will ever have with them. The other people, the new supply, they get the real version of them. They get the version of them that just lays on the couch eating potato chips with crumbs all over their clothes, and the one that farts in front of them, That's what they get. They get the real version of them. They save the best of themselves for you. You get the version of them that's most attractive, most desirable, powerful. That's what you get. Because your opinion that matters that much to them. They don't want you seeing them like that. They don't want you thinking anything is wrong with them. Because you matter. You're important. If you weren't, they wouldn't even care. Many of you never even realize this. You never catch on to it. But this is what's going on. And this is why you never see that side of them. You never get too close. Because they don't ever want you to see them in that way. You give them a life. You breathe life into them. That's what you do. So of course, the further away they are from you, what do you think's going to happen? Of course they're going to struggle without you, because you are the one who supplies them, who gives them oxygen so that they can breathe. So there's no way that they are ever going to be doing better without you. If you were that person, if you were the one who supplied them, who made them feel so good about themselves, who made them feel perfect, flawless, as though they never made a mistake. If you are that person for them, they are going to struggle without you. They really will, because they were heavily dependent on you to maintain that illusion for them. Now, without you, what are they going to do? Well, as for you, it's different, because you never wanted that anyway. You just wanted it to be real. You were uncomfortable with them having to act that way. You wanted to see them being real. You wanted a real connection. So none of that is going to affect you. You're not going to be as bothered about losing the idealization as they are. Because if you look at it, you were the one who sacrificed the idealization, the love bombing phase yourself. Because you didn't want to settle for that. You wanted something real. And they couldn't be vulnerable, and that's how they ended up devaluing you. So that's no loss for you. It's a huge loss for them. And it's just that you feel like you've lost something that was perfect, that was better. You feel that way because you never got to see the real, raw version of them. You never got to see what they're really like. If you did, you would have realized they're actually very lazy. And you would realize they're actually worse than anyone else. Because again, why does someone need to present themselves as perfect, flawless, as though they've never made any mistakes, they've never done anything wrong to anyone? Why does someone need to present themselves to you in that way? It's because that's the very thing they're insecure about, and they feel like they're more flawed. They feel like they're worse than anyone else. That's why. And so by knowing that, whenever you see anyone who has this false self and they have to act like they're completely blameless, flawless, you should know you're not losing anything. You are losing the problem. You are losing something that's going to cause you a lot of problems. Because it's actually the opposite of that. Someone who's genuinely confident, they don't have to orchestrate anything. They can just be real. They can be genuine with you. So yeah, you're not losing anything, and they are going to struggle without you. Anything that they had or appear to have, it was only because they were with you. And that's all. They are going to struggle. Remember everything you provided to them, your energy and emotions, money and resources, maybe sex as well. They lose all of that. They lose all of the benefits and conveniences. And they will feel that. They'll try and run away from it. They'll turn to fantasy, escapism. But they can't keep running forever. It's got to hunt them down. And that's where many of them may return back to you. They may want a taste of you again. Again, it's got nothing to do with connection. It's got nothing to do with love, missing you, stealing from you, stealing your qualities, your energy. That's what they want. They want you to validate the illusion. That is the power that you hold. You can make someone feel so good about themselves, like they're the only person in the world. You can make them feel powerful, superior, attractive, intelligent, desirable. And that is one of the most powerful qualities to possess in this world. You are a very powerful person if you can make someone feel that way. Because that's all that anyone ever really wants. People want to feel like they matter. They want to feel important. They want to feel like they're the only person in the world in that moment. And you're able to give, to provide that. It's incredible. And it's because you're an empath, maybe a codependent or people pleaser. What you have is a very rare gift. It's just a shame, you know, we wasted it on someone who couldn't appreciate it and took it for granted. But you share that with someone who's similar to you and you can have an amazing connection. You can have a really deep bond with them. And that's what I want for all of you. And of course, as you can probably guess, you know, I have that gift myself. You know, when I'm making these videos, I just forget about everyone and everything else. And I focus on you. Like, you're the only thing that matters to me in my life. And you become very important to me. And, you know, this is what it is. This is a deep connection. This is a deep bond. And it's what everyone wants. It's what everyone can't live without. But protect this quality. Because many people out there, they will abuse it because maybe they've never got to experience that before. And that's why they're all over it with you now. But yeah, that's it. You know, I can assure you they will struggle without you. Everything you gave, provided, supplied to them, they're going to lose all of that. And they're not going to be able to find that anywhere else. They're not going to be able to find someone who's similar to you, who's moldable, especially moldable into what they want it to be. What they found with you is very rare. Especially with more and more people waking up to this these days. They're just not going to find anyone else. They're not going to find anyone else who will just roll over for them, sacrifice themselves, give everything they've got, do exactly what they want them to do, whenever they want them to do it. They're not going to find anyone else like that. They're not going to find anyone else who can make them feel perfect, flawless, larger than life. Someone who's going to tolerate all of the abuse and still love them anyway. They're never going to find anyone else like that. And yet they had that with you. I see a good donation there. Thank you, Arwen Perea. I appreciate it very much. But yeah, let me know what you think about what I've said so far here. If you've got any questions, let me know below. While I'm talking to you, I'm just admiring this pond here. Really beautiful flowers. Look at that. You see that? It's like something out of another dimension. Incredible. The colours. These are definitely some of my favourite flowers. And the fish. It feels good to be out in nature, around the plants, the trees, the animals, the birds. This is where I feel at peace. I miss doing videos out here like this. Unfortunately, it's just difficult, you know, because I don't have a car anymore. I haven't had a car now for over 1 year. So it's very difficult to travel, and it's very rare that I can do videos like this. But I know that many of you appreciate it. And of course, you know, that was the whole point of my channel, is so that I could travel, explore. You know, that's why I worked so hard for all of those years. So that I could make videos while I'm traveling and share that with you. But unfortunately, it's not as easy as it used to be. I've faced a lot of sabotage. So I'm unable to share the content that I would like to. But we got this video for the day at this park anyway. Kim Hage says, we all know they have some weird goings on in that bathroom. I've done videos before speaking about how narcissists are filthy inside and other things, and even to this day I still stand by what I said in that video years ago. It's true. I mean, just think about it. A typical narcissistic personality, they're greedy, so they just eat and eat. They eat large portions of food. They eat anything. When they're out in public, they may act like they're eating clean, but then behind the scenes, they're just eating whatever they want, as much as they want. So of course, you know, that's going to affect their bodies, and it will affect what goes on in the bathroom, because they're very greedy and they're insatiable. And they're always comfort eating because they don't feel good about themselves. So even now, even after so many years of research, after I made that video, it still stands true today. Actually, it seems even more true now than it did back then. Now that I have the amount of knowledge that I have now. John Tracy says, trust me, it's all deliberate to drive you nuts. It is, because they're already on that wavelength themselves. They know that they're not normal. They're aware of that, and that's why they're always trying to push you to act in abnormal ways, out of character, and to not look normal in front of other people, because they already feel that way about themselves. But yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know. Any of you who may be disputing this, anyone who thinks that actually the narcissist isn't going to struggle without you, let me know your concerns in the live chats. Anything that doesn't sound right to you that I've said to you, and let's talk about it together. Because what I do enjoy, you know, as someone who's done the work, who's done a lot of research and has a lot of experience, I do enjoy a debate. I don't need everyone to just completely agree with me. I'm always looking to learn more myself, and I do like to talk about things because I am about growth. I see people are talking about the percentage of narcissists. A lot of people say different things. There are some percentages as low as like 1 to 6% or something. Psychologist Dr. Ramani has said that there's 1 in 6 people who are narcissists, maybe 1 in 5 in cities. And there are various statistics that support up to 30% of the population being narcissists. Although it could be a lot less than that. Also consider Dr. Ramani said that over 50% of the population are narcissistic. They may not have the full-blown disorder, but narcissistic. And then there's many other personality disorders as well. There's people who are toxic. And then there's people of different levels of consciousness and awareness. Different feelings, anxiety, depression. This is why so many people are alone. The 2 most common illnesses in the world are anxiety and depression. Mental illnesses. And they're especially affecting the younger generations today. Especially children. More than older people. So many people are going through this. So many people are dealing with personality disorders, anxiety, depression. And that's why it's very difficult to find someone who you can get on with, who you can bond with. It's difficult for you to find someone similar to you. And instead, whenever you meet someone, they're always trying to mold you into who they need you to be. You can't just relax and be yourself. Because that's just it. There's so many different people, different levels of consciousness and awareness. So you're not going to get on with most people. And that's just it, you know, even though someone may seem perfect for you initially, see how you feel after you spend a week with them, a month with them, 1 year. Because most of the time it's just short-term gratification. And even then, it's just a fantasy. It's just something in your mind. And you can entertain that fantasy on your own. You don't need them. And actually, by you doing that, it will be more sustainable, more powerful. It will make you feel better about yourself, rather than you externalizing it onto someone else. So, yeah, it's really a lesson to just depend on yourself. You don't need anyone. You can want them. You don't need them. There's no one who you need. You can be independent. And that should always be a red flag. Anytime that someone tries to make you think that you need them, that you can't live without them, that's probably someone who is highly narcissistic. If they make you feel that way. At least without a reasonable explanation. Because in some cases, of course, you may need someone. If you're stuck at a house and it's burning down, yeah, you may need a firefighter. And that doesn't mean that the firefighter is a narcissist. But yeah, it's nice just to sit here, listening to the sound of the water, of the birds singing in the background. It's just very peaceful. And it's just how it is, you know. When you're around most people, you feel drained, confused. Like you lose all of your energy, but then you come out into nature and you feel revived, replenished. Because this is where we're supposed to be. This is where we belong, right here. Our minds, our bodies didn't have enough time to adapt to living behind four walls, a roof. So nature is still our home. Nature is still where we belong. And you may find, you know, that any anxiety, depression that you have, mental health issues, even physical issues, many of these things can begin to resolve if you just come out and spend more time in nature. It can change everything for you. And that's why you see throughout the years I've been doing these videos, I've always been outside whenever I can. Especially at the beginning, because I had a lot more money then. I was making a lot more money from this, so I was traveling everywhere. I was going to all sorts of national parks, everything. Because I really felt it was like a higher purpose for me to explore everything. But it's difficult these days. I mean, you probably noticed by the end of the videos, especially since the beginning of 2023 when the gang stalking started again. Now I seem much more tired and I stutter, mispronounce words a lot more than I did before. Especially from mid-2021 and then throughout 2022. If you look closely, you can always see when the gang stalking was happening and when it wasn't. Because within those times, I could do an entire video, sometimes for 1 hour, and still end the video with tons of energy. I'm not like struggling to breathe. I'm not stuttering constantly, mispronouncing my words. So it's because of the constant harassment. That's what it does to you. I definitely do experience a lot of like breathing problems, a tight chest, a tight throat. But it's interesting though, because as soon as you come out of the gang stalking, it can all get much better then. It's just, of course, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on your body because it's being used by people. They're using your energy. Thanks for the donation, Canadian Math Dude. He says many narcissists know that it's functional and no one would want to deal with their poor behavior. This is part of the reason why they trap people. That's exactly it. That's why they use the manipulation, deception. They wear a mask. Because they know that if they didn't do that, you wouldn't want to deal with them anyway. And that's not what they want. They want you to invest in them emotionally so that they can feel better about themselves and see themselves differently. So that's what they want from you. Thanks for the donation, Mike Hall. Mike Hall asks, what if they made the ex or new supply mirror my traits? That can happen too. Sometimes you may see their exes or their new supply becoming more and more like you. And again, it's because you were that grade A supply for them. So the narcissist may try to mold them into being more like you. But yeah, I gotta say, I'm exhausted now. You could always tell when I'm going through the gang stalking because I just get so tired and I feel so confused and I can't even talk without stuttering. You can tell that I'm just like struggling to speak because it tightens the throat and chest area when you're around narcissists, people who want to consume you. But I'm glad I got out here anyway, just to explore. But hey, you know, this is why we talk about going no contact. Because whenever you're close to them, they want to just eat you alive. They want everything that is you to become a part of them. They want you inside of them. They want to consume you. And they will consume everything that is you. Until you're just left, just stuck there. In a free state. With your eyes wide and your jaw just wide open. That's what they will do to you by the end of it. It's because, you know, they're just not good enough for themselves. They're not good enough to sustain themselves, so they need you. They need your heart to be pumping for them. They need your brain to be working for them. They need your body, your organs, everything. Your mental processes, because they're dysfunctional. But yeah, anyway. I hope this video was good for you. You can see we got a lizard in the back, swimming in the water. This is a good place to go if you like lizards. But yeah, give it a like if it was good for you. If you're new here, subscribe, click on notifications so that you will be notified when I go live again. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Let's start a discussion. I read your comments every day. If you would like guidance to support your healing journey, you can book a one-on-one with me by going to narcsurvivor.co.uk. Your donations are greatly appreciated, no matter how small. You can donate by going to paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And also follow me on my Instagram, it is Narc Survivor YouTube. So guys, sorry if it's difficult in this video to hear. My throat is super tight. And feeling quite tired as well. Stuttering, difficult to focus because of the constant harassment But anyway, I'm glad I got out here to share this message with you, and I hope that it helped. Thank you for your support, and I will talk to you in another Narc Survivor live video very soon.